Have you ever really thought about all the stuff that makes up our daily lives? You know, the water we drink, the gas in our cars, the phone in our hand. We tend to treat all these things like they're just there, a free gift from nature. But what if that's not the whole story? What if they aren't free at all?
So let me ask you straight up. When you think about a forest, or a river, or a big deposit of coal underground, do you picture them as free for the taking? It's a really common way to look at the world, but, well, it might be completely wrong.
Because the short answer is, nope, they're not. Resources aren't just lying around waiting for us. The truth is, they only become resources because of what we do. Human beings are the ones who actually transform them. So how on earth do we do that?
Okay, so if we're the ones creating resources, what does that even mean? How does that work? Let's break down how something in nature goes from just being stuff to becoming something that powers our entire world.
You see, for anything to actually be a resource, it's got to check 3 boxes. First, do we have the technology to get it and use it? Second, does it make economic sense? And third, is it culturally okay for us to use it? Think about oil. For thousands of years, it was just this useless black goo in the ground. It only became one of the world's biggest resources when we invented the tech to drill for it, built an economy around it, and culturally accepted a fossil fuel-powered life.
It all comes down to what's called the resource triangle. On one side, you have nature, which gives us the raw materials. Then you have technology, which gives us the tools to get to those materials and change them. And finally, you have institutions, things like governments and companies, that build the systems to manage it all. And who's right there in the middle, connecting everything? We are. Humans are the essential ingredient that turns a neutral substance into a valuable resource.
But here's the problem. What happens when we forget this? When we go back to thinking of resources as a free, bottomless gift? Well, the consequences are pretty severe. In fact, it's the root cause of some of the biggest problems we face today.
This whole free gift idea leads to a whole cascade of issues. When we use resources without thinking, we don't just run out of them. We see that wealth and resources get piled up in the hands of just a few people, splitting society into the haves and the have-nots. And all the while, the planet pays the price, with global warming, pollution, and land being pushed to its breaking point.
You know, this quote from Gandhiji just hits the nail on the head. He basically said the real problem wasn't that the Earth didn't have enough to provide for everyone's needs. The problem was our greed, combined with technology that let us exploit things on a massive scale. The issue isn't the planet's limits, it's our lack of them.
So, facing these growing crises, the world kind of had to wake up and realize that the old way wasn't working. This sparked a huge global shift in thinking, a move away from just taking whatever we want towards a new model, one based on sustainability.
Now, this didn't happen overnight. The alarm bells started ringing way back in the late 60s with groups like the Club of Rome. Then a huge moment came in 1987 when the Brundtland Commission gave us a name for the solution: sustainable development. And it all came to a head at the massive 1992 Earth Summit in Rio, where leaders from over 100 countries got together to try and figure out a real plan of action.
So what is sustainable development, really? The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It just means that we should meet our own needs today, but without trashing the environment or making it impossible for our kids and grandkids to meet their needs tomorrow. It's all about finding that balance between progress and responsibility.
Okay, I know this can all sound a bit high-level and abstract, so let's bring it down to earth, literally. Let's talk about one of our most basic resources, land. Think about it. Something like 95% of our fundamental needs come from the land. So how we manage it is a perfect test of how serious we are about sustainability.
If we take a look at a country like India, you can see how all the different types of land play a role. Those huge plains, making up 43% of the land, that's the engine room where most of the farming and industry happens. The mountains, they're crucial for freshwater and tourism. And the plateaus are where you find huge reserves of minerals and fuels. Every single piece is vital to the whole system.
But here's where we start to see the cracks. Check out the forest cover, just over 23%. Now, according to India's own national forest policy, the number they need for a healthy, balanced ecosystem is 33%. That's a 10% gap. And that is a huge, dangerous gap between what the environment needs and what we're actually doing.
And that gap is what leads to land degradation. This isn't just some vague concept, right? We're talking about specific things happening in specific places. We're talking about massive deforestation from mining in states like Jharkhand, or over-irrigation in Punjab that's making the soil too salty to grow crops, or industrial pollution everywhere. Each one of these actions is chipping away at the very foundation we all depend on.
But, and this is a big but, it's not hopeless. Not at all. There are clear, actionable solutions that we already know work. Things as simple as planting more trees and managing grazing better can make a massive difference. In dry places, planting rows of bushes can stop sand dunes from spreading. And of course, properly treating industrial waste is absolutely critical. We have the tools, we just need to use them.
So we've gone from the big global picture to a specific national example. Now, for the final step, let's bring it all the way home. What does any of this mean for you, for me, for our lives right now?
I want you to really honestly imagine this for a second. If you woke up tomorrow and the world's oil supply was just gone, how would your day change? Forget just driving your car. We're talking no electricity, no plastics, no global shipping. Our entire way of life is built on these resources that we treat like they'll last forever. It's a sobering thought, isn't it?
And that's really what this all boils down to. The big takeaway here is that resources are not free gifts. They are a product of nature, yes, but also of our technology and our choices. And once you understand that, it changes everything. We're not just consumers anymore. We're caretakers. The future of our planet isn't just another thing for us to use up. It's our shared responsibility to protect.